Hi, this is Kerry Artek with Wicked Stocks, bringing you the daily Apple report for Friday, November 4th, 2022. Big sell-offs again on Thursday. We gapped below this rising two-thirds speed line, which I'd mentioned. I still have it as a 3-star level, able to contain buying now through next week rather than selling into. It was considered and is considered a downward pivot point into later November. This after nearly testing this more meaningful descending two-thirds speed line, rising two-thirds, descending two-thirds, this descending two-thirds, 2 months of data. This rising two-thirds is just about 3 weeks of data. So the 156.62 4-star resistance able to contain buying through November, and below which I was anticipating this week the 145.61 speed line. We gapped below that on Thursday, but also below 156.52. I was open to considering the fact that over the next 3 to 5 weeks, the 124.75 long-term support was in reach and now is in reach, in my opinion, below 145.61. This was a downward pivot point into later November. Now, there are some levels on the way down that can contain session weakness, the most notable of which that I see, at least for today, is 138.20, and that is the low settlement price from late September, and it can contain session weakness. We could bounce from here back to 145.61, possibly within the day, over the next couple of days anyway. But given the heavy state of affairs below 145.61 and longer term below 156.62, breaking or opening today below 138.20 is certainly possible. And if so, 132.07 in reach today. And that is actually shown here, right? This is that former channel top. So you can see the volatility that we have in these daily ranges, that if we break that 138.20, I don't have that shown here, that low settlement price from late September, if we break or open below 138.20, 132.07 is in reach, and that is that former descending channel top. I'll mention that this trend line off the lows is the 135.41 minor point. All the minor points are carefully chosen. They all have meaning, but you're always weighting them, or at least I'm always weighting them in terms of determining what has pivot point qualities, what has meaning in terms of pushing through for the day, closing above into later weeks, so forth and so on. So I'll once again remind you that breaking or opening today below 138.20, this 132.07 formation being a Friday and all in reach today, that may be about it for the downside today. But if we close below 138.20, then I do think that over the next week or two, we should continue south into this long-term support region that I'll show on the weekly chart here. This is a weekly bar chart. It's actually 124.80 on the weekly chart, which is backed up by a rising two-thirds speed line projected off that March 2020 COVID low, and this zone narrowing ever so gradually and able to contain selling through Q1, possibly into later next year. And it is a bit of an objective now below 145.61. I shouldn't say a bit of an objective. It was a bit of an objective below the 156.97 speed line. This is also a weekly chart, but this is more properly shown. Was a bit of an objective below 156.62, and now is a clear objective below 145.61. Sorry for jumping around so much with these charts. This is also worth noting. I don't even have this shown in the support and resistance levels, but it will be shown 128.52. You can see I have 129.04 here. It just wasn't updated. We're not going to see this level today. Famous last words, right? If we gap below 138.20, once again, 132.07 likely. And then if we close today below 138.20, you can see how by the end of next week, we can just sort of make our way down into this zone of meaningful support, beginning really at 124.75. This area is dropping at a pretty decent rate, and over the next week or two will converge entirely with 124.75. So we'll be watching this on a daily basis. All these numbers change daily. That's why it's important to tune in every day. Please click like and subscribe. I don't think that there's anything. Let me finish. Sorry, I did jump the gun just a bit here. In the off chance that we actually close today back above 145.61, we should recover our way next week back to 156.62, which is once again this long-term descending two-thirds speed line able to contain buying through November, and below which the 116, 124 region in reach over the coming weeks. If we were to close above 156.62 in the coming days, a long shot, but if so, then just the opposite. This market recovers nicely over the following 3 to 5 weeks into the upper 170s. But we're nowhere near that right now. I'm going to leave it at that. Please click like and subscribe. I appreciate it very much. I'll be back Sunday afternoon with Monday's Daily Apple Report. And you have a great weekend.